So you just got promoted. You're now a manager. And whether you realize it or not, you're already setting the culture. Not next week or once the dust settles, right now. Every decision you make or don't make is a signal. Every one-on-one, every team meeting, every response to tension, it's shaping what your team believes is normal, acceptable, or rewarded. What can be truly shocking, though, is that you may not realize that at all. Now, I remember when I started, I was completely unaware that I was shaping culture. My main focus was on getting things done. It was only a few months into the job when one of the employees commented how proactive the culture had become. It was then that the realization dawned on me that I was responsible for the positive but also any negative sides of the company culture. A big responsibility for a young manager. My name is Marcel. I'm a chartered manager, and over the last 20 years I've been fascinated by company cultures. I've seen some great examples and terrible ones too. What is now obvious to me is that most managers think that the company culture is some sort of HR document they have to display on the board in the kitchen, not even realizing they are the main creator of the culture. So let's talk about how to do this on purpose, not by accident. Because the worst kind of culture is the one that forms without any control. Right, let's kill a myth right away. Culture is not company values on a poster. It's not your mission statement. It's not even team vibes. I'm going to paraphrase Henry Ford, who said that the quality means doing it right when no one is looking. Similarly, the culture is what happens when you're not in the room. It's how people behave under pressure and how decisions get made when things are unclear. And as a new manager, this is one of the few areas where you actually have more influence than you think, because your team is watching you closely, trying to understand what kind of environment they've just entered or what kind of environment it's becoming. Now, the trap most first-time managers fall into is this: I'm too new to set the culture. I should just observe and fit in. Sounds humble, right? But here's the problem. Culture doesn't wait. It's forming right now based on what you say, what you don't say, what you tolerate and what you ignore. If you wait 6 months to set the standard, that standard's already been set, just probably not by you. And then you're stuck trying to unteach a bunch of behaviors you never meant to encourage. So instead of waiting, let's go straight to the point. You're not just building a team, you're building the invisible system that runs it. I know it may sound daunting, so let's talk what culture is without the fluff or large definitions. In its most basic form, culture is patterns. And in simple terms, what gets repeated, what gets reinforced, what gets rewarded. If you keep ignoring bad behavior, that behavior grows. It's the difference between we give feedback openly and we smile in meetings but talk behind each other's backs. It's whether someone speaks up in a meeting or stays silent because they once got shut down badly. It's not what you write in your team handbook. It's what people feel safe doing in practice. And if you think they won't notice, I need to wake you up to the fact they will. And there are 5 main levers you control as a manager. Let's break them down. Number 1, what you praise. This is the easiest and most underused lever. You set culture by what you praise out loud. Did someone give helpful feedback during meeting? Call it out. Did someone take ownership when something went wrong? Highlight it. Because what you praise becomes contagious. Especially early on, they're listening for signals. Oh, that's what gets noticed around here. So give them signals worth noticing. Your words and actions really matter. What you tolerate. This one's tricky. And it separates the good managers from the ones who end up with silent resentment in every one-to-one. If someone rolls their eyes in a meeting and you let it slide, you just set the culture. Yes, it's that simple. If someone misses a deadline with no communication and there are no consequences, well, you just taught everyone that deadlines are effectively optional. You can have all the fancy values in the world, but what you tolerate defines the real rules. And it's usually the tiny stuff. A sarcastic comment, a snide joke, a missed follow-up. Ignore it too often and the tone of the team shifts, and it shifts really fast. I remember when I was a senior product manager, one of the largest lessons I received was after I made what I thought was a witty comment about the production cost. Our operations director picked that up and sat me down to explain the finer details. And after 30 minutes of that, I left not only knowing more, but convinced that the senior management cared a lot about everything that was happening in the factory. Furthermore, I never made jokes that put what I did in an unprofessional light. Big lesson, exacted quickly, on the spot. How you make decisions. Do you make decisions behind closed doors? Do you share the why or just the what? Are decisions up for discussions or already made by the time you talk about them? Now this stuff matters because people will mirror your style. Now this has benefits and downsides. If you want everyone to be open to feedback, you need to remain open too. Tit for tat and quid pro quo are the rules here. If you want transparency, show your work. If you want thoughtful input, invite it early, not just when it's time to rubber stamp. The process becomes the culture. Number 4 is a big one. Who gets opportunities? Nothing reveals your true culture faster than who gets promoted, or what gets the juicy project, or who gets forgiven for mistakes. If the same people always get the spotlight and no one knows why, you're building a culture of silent frustration. If opportunities are distributed based on trust, consistency, and performance, and people understand that, well then you're building a merit-based fair culture. Either way, people are watching, so start communicating reasons behind allocating work. It's not about explaining yourself to the others. It's more about sending clear messages. What you personally model. This one's unavoidable. If you show up late to every meeting, don't expect your team to respect time. If you avoid giving feedback, don't expect your team to be honest with each other. Your behavior is the loudest signal in the room. I remember when I had a remote team who always complained about the head office stuff. And once, only once, I chimed in to support their voices, thinking I was a good listener. What I did wrong was taking sides. Within weeks, everyone in the remote team felt demotivated and cornered by the head office team. It took me a good few months to unwind what I created. By presenting the head office people as supportive of other teams and evidencing it, I finally turned the situation around. But the lesson was there. What managers do truly matters. That doesn't mean you have to be perfect, but you do have to be consistent. What you do when things get stressful will speak way louder than any team charter that you write. So how do you actually build culture on purpose? Well, there is no one magical framework because the culture is a social concept, and so it's a result of small human actions. Consistency is key here, and I would recommend the following process with a warning that anyone will have to go through it continuously. There's no chance of just going through all the steps and everything's achieved. It's not going to happen. It's more of a circle than a straight line. Here's the process I recommend. Define what good looks like. What kind of team do you want to be? Fast-moving, collaborative, feedback-heavy? Write it all down. Make it explicit. Share your cultural expectations out loud. In onboarding, in daily comms, in one-to-ones, don't assume people will just pick it up. Create rituals that reinforce it. Regular stand-ups, monthly demos, shout-outs in all hands, postmortems. All of these reinforce your values through actions. Remember to course correct early. Don't let misalignments fester. A small conversation now is way easier than a culture problem 6 months from now. Ask your team. Culture isn't a one-person job. Ask how things feel. Create feedback loops. Culture is alive, so treat it like a living thing. Okay, so now we know how to start implementing culture. Let's go through some common mistakes to avoid. I think number 1 for me is being too hands-off. Thinking culture will just form. It will, but probably not the way you want and not in the areas that you like. Trying to be everyone's friend is another one. You don't have to be authoritarian, but if you never draw lines, you won't earn trust. I can't stress this one enough. If there's one element from today's video you take home, please let it be this one. Do not try to be everyone's friend. You're no longer part of the circle, and you never will. Inconsistency. Saying one thing, doing another. That's quite common, especially under pressure. I know it's difficult, and I would lie if I said I don't feel like losing it sometimes. The difference is that I don't. If I'm about to pivot on what I said previously, which is fine sometimes, I'm clear on the reasons why. A big mistake is copying your old boss's culture. Your team isn't the same, neither are you. As a final takeaway, I would say that the culture is always being set. It's in every meeting, it's behind every choice. Every time you speak or stay silent, the only question is, are you doing it intentionally? So start early, be explicit, stay consistent. And remember, the culture you build in your first 6 months will stick around a lot longer than you think. So make it one worth keeping. If you found this helpful, check out my video on how to give feedback without killing morale, because feedback is one of the faster ways to shape culture. I'll see you there.